Welcome to Everything and Anything. Today I'm going to show you how to create a habit tracker. You might have seen some on TikTok as are getting super popular. It looks super daunting and quite hard to create, however, no worries, I'm going to show you everything step by step. However, if you don't really want to create one and just want to purchase one already, feel free to go in the link on the description. You will find the one that we are creating today. There are two different ways of us creating it. We can do it on Excel or we could do it on Google. Just to give you a quick idea, this is what I'm talking about. It's literally just a tracker where you can keep track of everything you want to do or you have done during the day. So as you can see here, we can do it on Excel, but we can also do it on Google. Google being the easier way, I'm going to go first on Google and we can then look into Excel and recreate the one I've showed you. So if we go on Google, as you can see on my screen, you just have to go on the different, the dots which forms a square, so Google Apps, just click on it and then you just have to go lower and go to Google Sheets. You go in. As you can see here, we have one entitled spreadsheet and then some options of spreadsheets, some kind of templates. You have a template gallery, so you could look through it. If you have anything you want, so as you can see, we have some travel planner, some invoices, or others. However, today we're going to create a new one. So first is to give a name to our document. So today we're going to call this the habit tracker. And we're going to begin to create our habit tracker. As you can see, this looks extremely similar to Excel. We can see the rows and the column. So what we're going to do first is we're going to look into the months that we want to create it. I'm just going to go on C2. So in C2, we're going to write down the first day of the month we're going to begin to keep track of. So I want to begin in January. So I'm going to first start on the January 2023. I'm going to then click next to it and see how it reacts. As you can see here, it kept the date like it is. However, I just want to see the months and the year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into format and then number. As you can see, when you click on number, it's going to give you several options. Here is a date with the day, the months and the year. However, as said previously, I just want the month and the year. So I'm going to go in custom date and time. I'm going to select the day and I'm going to delete it. Then you're going to see there's going to be one of those elements here we're going to take off, and we're going to take off the next one as well. And then I'm just going to select and click on the month, and I want to see the months on its full text. So here I'm going to select the full months. Then I'm going to apply. And here you can see the date, which was the 1st of January 2023, changed into January 2023. So we are able to see the full month. However, in the background, as you can see in the formula here, this cell is considered as being the 1st of January 2023. So I know that what I'm going to first want to look into are my daily habits. So just in the cells before the C2, so B2, I'm going to write daily. It's just for me to keep track of. Obviously, we have the months here and we're going to want to know the week by week, but I also want to know the day. So I'm just going to divide my page into a lot of different sections. So we first want around here the dates, and then on the rows here I will want all of my tasks, and then I will want around here the matrix. So what I call matrix is where we are able to select if you want to tick it or not. So we're going to first start with the week number 1. So I'm just going to type week number 1 here, and then we're going to figure out exactly what does that mean. In C4, I'm then going to do my first equation. Well, it's not really an equation, it's more a link to another cell. So here we're gonna click in the cell, and then you're gonna tap on the equal of your keyboard and then select C2. As you can see, it's gonna pop up with exactly the same formula. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this again, and I'm gonna explain to you why just after that. So although I want to see my month and my week, I also want to see the day of the week. When I talk about that, I mean that I want to see which day we are. Are we Sunday? Are we Monday? Are we Tuesday? I think it's really important. When I look at it, I'm going to then click on format. I'm going to then click on number, and then I'm going to select what I want. Here again, I want to see the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so which day of the day we are. So I'm going to need a custom date and time. Here you can see we have months and year. Obviously, it's not what I want the day. So I'm going to select any of the other that are proposed, which gives me what I want. The one which is closest to what I want is, I would say, this one. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to take off the year, the month, and the day. I'm going to take off the comma, and then I'm going to select the day, so saying as Tuesday here, and I'm going to use the abbreviation. I don't really need the full explanation of the day. I don't need the full text. I just need the abbreviation. Is fine for me. And then I will apply. So I'm glad to know that the first day is Sunday, but here I still want to have the date just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to go on format, number, and then again, we're going to do a custom date and time. And instead of having the day as a Tuesday, we want it as a number. You can do with a leading zero. Personally, I prefer it without leading zero. So I'm just going to select the first one. And then you just apply. So here we know that on the week 1, the first selection that we have will be the Sunday first. This is obviously just the start, but it's going to give you a shape of everything that you want to see next. So what we're going to do now, and what is going to be interesting, is how to deploy everything. So whenever we update only C2, everything's going to get updated as well. So what we need to do is we need for everything to be linked. So we're going to go into D5, and what we're going to do is we're going to do equal, and then we're going to add the C5, so the first day of the month, which is going to be the first, and add 1 day, so just +1. As you can see, most of the time you will have a little pop-up which gives you the results of this equation, but you can just click on enter, and then you will be able to see the equation updating here. One thing which will happen most of the time is you will realize that on Excel sheet there is a restriction of number of columns. So let's see if here there is, and I'm going to show you how to make sure that you can extend it. So as you can see, we're just going to select. So we're going to select the little blue square just right here. As you can see, we're going to hold, so press, hold, and then we're going to go on the right, and this is just going to extend this equation. So as you can see here, we extended until 24. However, we need much more because there is 31 days in every, in some of the month. We're going to select T to Z, Command C, and then I'm going to select Z, and then I'm going to insert column to the left or to the right. You have a choice on to the left or to the right. To be honest, it doesn't really matter. Let's do to the right, and then you're going to see we have added some columns. We can continue to add more, so I can add more column to the right, and then again insert 7 columns to the right. If you wouldn't have selected 7 columns, so as we did before, when you would go on the column, you would see this little arrow down. You could click on it, and then it will give you how many columns you would want to add. As you can see here, we just have 1. It's easier when you take a selection of more. What I'm going to do is, once we created all of the columns, we're going to extend it as further as 31. So I'm just going to go until the end here, and you're going to see that we went back to lower numbers. So we went back to 1, 2, you can see 6, 7, and those will be the next months. So right now, just let's go back at the beginning. So you just, with your 2 finger on the keyboard, go back to the right, or you can use here the little line and you go back to the beginning. What we're going to do, because we want to be able to see quicker every number, you're going to select in between A and your row number 1. You have a little square in between. You're going to select this. Then you're going to go in between 2 columns, and then you're going to double click. What is this going to do? This is going to make the column as the size of what it has inside of it. So as you can see here, we can see all of the numbers that came closer together. One way you can do it is also you can select all and then go in between some columns, and then you can go smaller. However, that will make every column from the same size as the one you chose. So here we're just going to double click, and you can see everything just went back to the size, so it can include everything. So once we did that, what we're going to do is we're going to go and take what we had above, and instead of making it equal to C2, we're going to change this a bit. So you're going to double click on this, and then we're going to change C2. As you can see, it's looking at January 2023. We're going to want it to look at C5. So it's connected directly with C5. And as you can see, we didn't change the format or anything, so it's going to stay exactly the same. Once this is done, we're just going to then extend this until the end. So I'm just going to continue through until 80, just this is until where you can see right now. So here we can see until Monday. So as you can see, it updated all of the days of the week. Why is that? It's because it's taking into account that this cell is connected to the date, which is the 1st of January. So this cell must be the 2nd of January, and this one the 3rd. And then, because we connected and linked the cell C4 and C5, and then D4 and D5, it will definitely see this as linked together and see the date of the week. So here you're able to see all of the days. What we're going to do again, just to see it better, we're going to select A1 and then double click in between columns so we're able to see a little bit clearer which day we are. What I'm going to do is then I just wanted to make it a little bit more aesthetically looking. So I'm just going to use January 2023, and then I'm going to go until the end of the month, which is the 31st. And then we're going to go into the bar at the top, and you're going to see this form here, which is 2 arrows against each other in square. And then this is merge cells. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this, and you're going to see January taking all the space. Just to make it again a little bit nicer, we're going to put this in the center. So what do we have? We have the months, which is taking everything. And then as you can see, we have the next months. We could, if you want, you can do one where all of the months are succeeding each other. However, here for just this example, we're going to take this off and just delete this. So you select everything and then you click your arrow delete. Let's go back to the beginning. So what do we have? We have the months, we have the week, we have the days, and then we have the number of that day. I'm just going to make this quick. What we're going to do is we want to have the week selecting the first week, so from Sunday to Saturday. So same selection, we take the first cell, so week 1, C3, we select, we hold, and then we go until the Saturday, which here is I3, and then we merge. One easy way then is you just select the square, the blue square here that you have. Just select this, hold this, and then you can extend until your last day of the month. As you can see here, we're going to have 5 weeks. Why is that? This is because the Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, 29, 30, and 31st are going into the 5th week. What I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to unmerge this, and I'm just going to delete this. Let me select everything that we have, and let me just center everything just to make it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Once again, we're going to click on A1 in between the column and just make it a little bit nicer. Here you can see it's not really working. It's making it a bit bigger. So what I'm going to do, I want my Sunday first being smaller. So I'm just going to make it a bit smaller, just like this. Just like this here. So once this is done, I'm just going to want to play around a little bit with the habits tracker and the day. So first I'm going to select daily, and then I'm going to go until the Sunday, Monday, etc. And I'm going to merge all the cells. I'm going to make it as a center again. And again, you're going to see this. So this is going to be interesting here. Daily is at the bottom of the cell that we just created. To change this, I'm going to have to go here to this little arrow to the lower part. You have a top, a bottom, and then the middle. I'm going to select middle here to see it in the middle. Then I will want to know exactly which day is today. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to do an equation. So whenever you're going to open it, you will be able to be referring to this date. So I'm going to make equal to today. So let me write today. And then I'm just going to open an arrow and close it. Oops. Open an arrow and close it. As you can see, we are the 24th of January today, and this is appearing here. Once this is done, I'm going to begin to write down all of the habits that I want to look into. So I want, for example, to drink 2 liters of water during a day. What do I want to do else in a day? I want to go to the gym. I want to wake up every day at 7 a.m. I want to read more. I want to journal. Something else I would like to do is make the bed every morning and then meditate. Here, as you can see, I have selected 7 daily tasks, daily habits that I want to keep track. However, you can go up to as many as you want. Just be mindful, this needs to be realistic. If you begin to have 30 tasks, it might be harder to make them happen, and you might lose a little bit of, you might just not want to go for it. So this is where you need to be a little bit mindful. So once we have this first part, here you're able to see already all of your habits, which is quite exciting. So then we're going to begin to look into adding a tracker. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this column a little bit bigger just so you can take everything into account. And let's make it just a little bit nicer looking. So this one, I'm going to want it as a bold color, so we can make it perhaps like this, and then white so we are able to see what it says. I'm going to use exactly the same here and just make it white. For the week, I'm going to want a color a little bit less. So I'm just going to use this one, but I'm still going to want to make it white. Those two, we're just going to leave them as a color. And then the days, I want them again a little bit less, but still colorful. So I'm just going to select the color just before and then in white. Obviously, you can go really wild with the color that you want to choose. I'm going quite natural here. And then what I'm going to do is this one, I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Again, how you want to do to change the color, you're just going to select those. You're going to want to go into this little cup, which is filled with black, which is literally filling the color. You're going to select it, and then you're going to select the color that you want. Here we're just going to take a lighter color, lighter shade, just this one. I also want those to be in the middle, so I'm just going to go into these little lines here and select the middle part. So here we have, let me just change this color. I don't really like this color. I'm just going to change this one to be a bit lighter, even more. Yeah, and then we're just going to change those in black to be able to see them clearly. Here we have. So now that we have all of our habits and we want to keep track, there are several ways of doing it. In Excel, it's a bit more complicated and you will have to do a data validation. However, here, there is a super simple way to do it. You just select the cell and then you're going to insert, and then you're going to go down and you're going to see there's going to be a drop down, smart chips, and then a tick box. We're going to select the tick box. As you can see here, when we have the tick box on the formula, we have a false, and whenever you click in it, you will see it turns into true. This is important for the rest of the tracker that when we're gonna create the overall percentage of completion of your week. So what you're gonna do now is you're just gonna select the little blue square and you're gonna extend to until the end of your habit tracker, and then you're gonna go into the side and just extend it until your latest month. As you can see here, we haven't done it properly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you actually how to make exactly the last cell. So here's a cell which has not been formatted into the same format of the previous cell. So I'm going to select the previous cell, and then I'm going to go into this little paint brush here. I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to click on the cell I want to format. So here we have, as you can see, we have a lot of tick boxes for each of our main habit tracks, habits that we want to track, and we are able literally to see them week by week. I'm going to make it again a little bit more user-friendly. So what do I mean by that is I want it to be a little bit clearer. So I'm going to add a little bit of table, how do you say, borders. So I'm going to select the first week that I want to track, and I'm just going to put some borders. I'm just going to put outside borders on this one. I'm going to repeat the exercise for each week. Again here, or again, you can just use the paint format brush, and then you can use until the end, and then it will format it in 2 already. And then we're going to have the last 3 days, which I'm still going to format, even though it's 3 days. You can call them like extra days or anything else. It depends on how you want to track them, or if you want to track them as part of your week 5, if you decide that every month has 4 weeks. Then we're just going to select this. I'm just going to make it as this, and then in the view part, so if you go in the top, you're going to see view. You're going to see different things that you can show. Here we see the formula bar, which we're going to want to continue to see, but we see also the grid line, which is not something that you really need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. It makes it much cleaner, much easier to see. Personally, at least this is how I prefer it. However, you can keep it. Some people prefer to see the difference in between the columns. So what they do, or what I propose to do, is you select and then you go into your format of your cell here on your borders. You can select the type of border. So you might want something a little bit more subtle. You might want something gray, and you want more only the inside. And here you can see you will still have a border in every aspect of it, but you don't see it as much as you would normally. And then we're just going to extend until the end. As you can see here, we have had exactly the same format, which has been literally duplicated. And here we're just going to add middle as we've formatted it. So here you're able to see the different days, the different objective that you have, etc. You might want to see a little bit more. Actually, let me just delimitate those quickly. I'm just going to do like this. I want this as a topper. So what we're going to do is, so just to delimitate those, I'm just going to go here. I'm just going to select black again. I'm going to select the full line. I'm just going to go around here. And then we're going to do the same for each week. And this is just making it a little bit clearer to delimitate your week by week, which I think is quite interesting, just to make it a bit user-friendly. A lot of the habit trackers sometimes are not so much user-friendly, and this is just the way you look at it, right? So, I mean, it takes a few seconds, sorry. It's quite easy to do. Once you've done this, you want to see, so obviously it might be interesting. Let's say we're going to select a few ones here. We're going to say the second was way better, and then we haven't done so much, and then we've done quite well. And then again, we've done really well. We've done literally everything. And then the next day, we haven't done barely anything. So now we want to see, even though we see the week being done, we don't know if what is the percentage of completion, if we're doing well or not, because we might not be doing good in one day, but if the rest of the week is doing great, it's going to balance. So what we're going to do is we're going to create 3 lines. We're going to create a line called complete, a line called incomplete, and a line called percentage of completion. Incomplete. For incomplete, we're going to do an equation which is going to take into consideration if this selection of cells is true or false. As you remember at the beginning, I explained to you that if you select the tick box, it's going to turn into a true. However, if it's not selected, it's a false. So, incomplete, in C14, we're going to create the first equation. We want to, so let's equal, we want to count, but we want to count with a condition. We want to count only if they say true. So we're going to count if. As you can see here, you have 2, which means you can do with one condition or several conditions. Here we just have one, so let's select count if. We're going to have to select the range. So the range that we're looking into is this range here. Then you're going to put a comma, and then it's going to give you what is the next step, which here is criteria. So what are we going to write? We want it to be equal to true. We're going to close, and then we're going to press enter. As you can see here, it gives you an error, which is a formula parse error. So it's meaning it doesn't understand something in the formula. Sometimes it's going to be because it's, for example, called equal. Some Excel will ask you, or some Google Sheet will ask you an equal, some will not. Here we're just going to put as true. So here, as you can see, we have 2, and is correct. What we're going to do now is we're just going to extend until the end of the week, and you can verify and everything should be right. Then let's look at incomplete. So what we're going to do is we're going to select C15 equal, and then with the same logic, we're just going to count if the range here is false. And then we close the parenthesis, we close the arrow, and then we do equal. So you can see here we do have 6. On the next one we have 2, so we can just extend. So there's two ways of looking at this, or you can look at only the one which have been incomplete, or you can look at the one which are the total one, so all of them. For the completion, what we're going to do, we're going to look at the completed divided by the total being the one which are incomplete plus the complete one. We're going to extend this, and then we're going to change this, because as you can see here, it's quite hard to understand what it is. We don't really know what those numbers mean. So it's going to be easier if we make it as a percentage. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go into format, and you're going to want to change number, and then you can change percent. Another easy way to do it is you just select cells again, and then you can just go here, and most of the time you will have your currency and format as a percent. So then we select this, and it turns into a percentage. Here we again can't see the numbers, and it might depend on you. You might want to know as per the decimals. We don't really want decimals, so we're just going to go here, and we're just going to decrease the decimal. So I can just have a whole number as a percentage. So here you can see day by day how your completion has been. It's quite interesting to have this overall settings, and I'm just going to extend it a little bit more until the end of the month. So again, you select, then you click on your blue square and you extend it. Once this is done, we're just gonna quickly make it look prettier. So how I'm doing this is I'm just selecting the colors that I want to attach to those here, and then I want this color around for the completion because I want it to make it a bit more heavy. I'm just going to use the borders. Obviously the complete and incomplete are important, however for me personally the most important is the percentage of completion. So I'm going to do it like this, and then I'm just going to do week by week. I'm going to do the first week, I'm going to select the first part and then this separately, and then you can select all of the cells and again click on the paint format, and then we're going to extend this until the end and do the last 3 days separately, because most of the time it's not going to extend on the last 3 days because it doesn't represent the 7 days that you've tried to format. So once this is done, you might want to know how your mood has been going, because your mood has a huge impact on how you're feeling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write mood rating. So the mood rating, I want to make it as a choice of number between 1 and 10, 1 being the lowest I've been, 10 being the best I've been this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into data, and then you're going to have several options here. We're going to go into the data validation format. Here is going to give you several rules that you've already updated. So here we have one. We're going to add a new rule. So let me add one rule. I want a drop down, and I want several options. You could do good, bad, a medium, or things like that. What we're going to do here is, again, we're going to do a list of different numbers. So I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up until 10. And then you click on done. As you can see here, then you will be able to choose the number that you want. You might need to make it a little bit bigger to make sure that it appears. And then you can make it a bit bigger. As you can see here, we can see it. There are several ways, or you do it like this, or you decide that you prefer to write a number by yourself between 1 and 10. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to leave this one here, but then on the next, I'm just going to write down the numbers by myself. If you want to extend your solution here, what you need to do is you just go on the cell, select on the side, and you can just extend it, and then you would be able to choose. Or you can just decide that you don't want to do that and write the numbers. So If, for example, you realize that you're going to need too much space to create those and you want to make it smaller, but you don't mind the data validation, or you want to do the different numbers, so from 1 to 10, this doesn't really matter. What is going to be interesting is to make it more appealing to the eye. So what we're going to do is first, we're going to select all of those, no matter what it is, if it's a data validation or not. And then we're going to go into format. We're going to go into conditional formatting, sorry. And then we're going to go into color scale. We want to choose a color scale that we like. So for example, let's do red to green, with red being the smallest point, which is 1 for us, and max point being a number, max being 10. So here we can do then done. And then you're going to be able to see the colors of where you are. So here, obviously, we selected the number 2, so it's the reddest one, but we could have selected here 1, and then you're going to see everything's going to update to be in line. We can also select 10. So if I write 10 here, we're going to be able to see the different color. Then we can, a 4 will be a little bit of a lower color, etc. So you can do this and see then the colors. Let me then just make it a little bit more appealing. So again, I want the mood rating to be something important for me. Then I'm just going to make it as a selection like this. Again, like this. What I want to do then is I'm going to want to select everything, and then I just want to make everything in the middle. Once this is done, you can just continue and extend everything. So just you can extend everything. So here we're just going to extend the numbers just because it's a little bit easier. And then what you can do is you literally can just select above and then copy the same way it's been done. And then we can just add a line up there. So how do you add just one line? Is you select here and you just add the top line here. So here we can just close the conditional format rule. As you can see here, we have 2. We can just close this here. So we have the first part of our overall. Something which could be interesting is if you want to quickly see if your week is going well or not. So for example, let's see if this week is going well, and you want, for example, to feel better if you achieve a minimum of 50%. So you're going to select this, and then you're going to format. You're going to go into conditional formatting, and then you're going to want to have a single color. Let's do a single color. Format cell if greater than, let's do 50%. And I want it to be green. If it's greater than 50%, then you will see your day following in green. So for example, let's imagine I take one off. I'm at 43%. I had one. I'm at 57% right away, which is quite exciting. So here we have the first daily rules. Now we're going to look into weekly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down here weekly. What we're going to do is we're just going to follow the same profile from above. So I'm just going to select all of the weeks. I'm going to copy, and then I'm just going to paste down here. And then I'm just going to, you see you have several cells here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put back the view on so you can clearly see what I'm looking into. So I'm just going to go into view, show, and grid line, sorry. So here we have the week, and we're looking at weekly. What I'm going to do is on the first cell of the week, I want to have a tick box. So I'm just going to insert a tick box just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. And on the second part, I want to be able to see the weekly habit I'm looking into. So here I'm going to merge. So here, for example, let's say on a weekly, we want to do the laundry. So I'm just going to type here, laundry. Let's just go down on 4 or 5, and then I'm just going to say, again, X, Y, Z, depending on what you want to do. And let me just copy this across. So you're just going to be able to have the same everywhere. Oops. Then you just select where you put your tick box, and then you're just going to lower it down. Again, we're just going to copy and paste it across. You can then select and do the last 3 days as a bonus, or you can decide that you want the last 3 days to be also, again, one of those. So you decide, you can copy paste your tick box again here, and then you can just merge 2 of the cells and add them here. On a weekly, we're going to then select this, make it equal. Actually, you know what? I actually want to make it as a bigger part. So what we're going to do is we're going to merge this, and then I'm going to want it like this color. So I'm going to make it darker, and I'm going to make it white. And then we want to make it a bit bigger. So here we can see it's a 12. So let's go in and update it to a 12, and let's make it in the middle. So here we are in the middle, but we're not centered. So here we are. Now that I have that, one thing that you can do is, for example, let's say that every week here, we would imagine that this is different. But if you decide that your weekly habits are exactly the same every week, that you don't have anything new you want to do, we can just select the first one and just equal here. What is this going to do? This is going to be a huge help whenever you're going to update new month. So obviously here we're looking at January, but we will want one for February, etc. February, your weekly tracker might be different than January, so you might want to only update the first week, and then everything gets updated accordingly. So this is a great help. So here I've updated all of the cells and make them equal to the cells before of the week 1, and then I'm just going to copy paste them and copy everywhere. Once this is done, I'm just going to format it and just make it as, I'm just going to add the borders everywhere as I like. Again, this is something that you might want to do. This is something that someone else, you might not feel necessary. It just really depends on your taste here. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'm just going to add it to the rest here. Once this is done, it might be something that, again, you want to have complete, incomplete, and the completion, and then your mood week overall. We can make it here a bit different. So let's go and copy paste the 2 cells here. We're going to select the row 14 and 15. So you can just go on the row numbers, select them. You can then Command C, and then you go down to your row 27, and you can do Command V. What is this going to do? This is already going to copy paste everything. And you can see that on the complete, everything is already selected. Most of the time this updates automatically, but let's have a quick check together. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on the first cell, which says 5, and we're just going to double click on it, and we're going to see what it selects. Here you can see it selects from the 19 to the 25. As you can see, it's selecting way more than what it should. And this is because here we have way more habits than we have during the week. So what we're going to do here is we go to the formula, and we're going to just do 21, because we know that those cells are just the one that we want to select. What we can do then is we can just extend everywhere. So I'm just going to extend until the end. This error is going to happen also at the bottom. So here you can see it selected the first part. So let me just update this quickly. C21 to 25. We can then just extend everything. And then just to make sure that the format is not updated as we have now, I'm just going to select all of the cells above, format paint, go back at the beginning, and select all of the cells down. As you can see, the format has been updated. Once we formatted everything, there is something which you might realize is, and to be honest, I didn't look at this before, but we have 5, but then we don't really have anything to select here. As you can see, it's directly the weekly. So what we're going to do, the weekly tasks, sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the 5, we're going to extend until the end, and then we are going to merge. It's going to tell you that it's going to merge above some other thing, and you say, okay. What we're going to do then is we're going to use this format for the 5 here, and the format for next. And then we can just even extend like this. Okay? So here you're going to be able to see that this is formatted to select only this little pair, like this little. So you can see this is formatted to select only the first cells, but it's showing everything. We're going to then select this, and then once again we're going to merge everything together, and yes, and then we're just going to extend. So here we know that on every week we've completed 5 out of the 5. You can then find a completion, you can do a percentage of completion, or we can do a week completion. And this is something which we are going to work on now. So we're going to work on a week completion, and what I'm going to do is I want an average. So I want to select all of the cells to go towards the week, and I'm going to merge them. Once I have that, I'm just going to make it as equal, and I want an average of all of those cells, and then you can put a comma, and then we value number 2. On value number 2, I'm just going to put an arrow because it's easier for me to look at the equation like this. On the arrow, I want to look at the complete divided by complete plus 0. And again, we put arrow in between the sum because the equation will prioritize the dividing. And then you close the equation everywhere. And then you can say equal. Here, 54%. So although we finished all of the laundry and we did most of the days good, we are just above 50%. If you go one lower, you're going to see it decreasing. 2 lowers, or if 1 week is not at 100%, this will have a definitive impact. There is another way which you can do is you can select the line 16, you can copy it and paste it just under the complete and incomplete. What it will do, it will give you the first number, so here 100%, which is going to be the what is equal to. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend this, I'm going to merge it as we've done for the one above, and just, oops, let me merge this, and then show you the equation. So the equation will be equal to the 5 divided by the totality of complete plus incomplete. Once we have that, then let me show you the equation to use. You can use equal average, and then you're going to select all of the 16 cells of the line 16, which are the completion one for that week, and then you're going to put a comma and then select the completion of the week, and then comma again, and then equal. And as you can see here, it would be exactly the same, and it will have exactly the same reaction if you move some bits around. One thing which, let me take this off and take the completion off just to make it a little bit clearer here on this document. I'm actually just going to delete it here like this, and we're going to clear row. Again, I'm then just going to clear the borders and going to clear, reset, and then we can just add the down line to this selection here. Just going to select down line here. Once this is done, you have the week completion. Then we want to have an average of a mood rating for that week. So we can do mood rating, mood rating, and then as you can see here, you're going to be able to do an average again. So we do average, and then average of all the moods of that week. And then we close it, with the arrow, and then here, the average mood was 4 out of 10, which is not always the best. So now what I just did is I just updated quickly the week completion and the mood rating by just clicking on the above mood rating, clicking on paint and format, and then selecting both of the cells. Once this is done, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend both of those cells. I'm just going to format them and then extend them. What do I mean by format them is I'm just going to go into the border, and then just going to put every corner, so all borders. As you can see here, then everything is updated. Selecting both of them, selecting the little square, and then I extend. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to make it a little bit prettier and verifying a few things. So first, when we did the conditional formatting, we didn't extend it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of the first week mood rating, go in format, and then go in conditional formatting. We're going to then click on this on the first rule, and then instead of going until I, we're just going to go until the last column. So we can just look at the last one, and then here it is. So I'm just going to type it down. Once this is done, then I'm just going to click on done. Here you're going to see everything's going to be updated. Because we have a lot of 7, it's going to make it 7 as blank. However, if I begin to update everything as being a 1, you're going to see the 7 is going to update. Let's make 2 here, 3, 4, and then again, you can see already we have the 7, which is getting a little bit more green. The goal is to have an average of a color for an idea of your mood rating. So here we can see the week 2 was pretty good, as in green, and then the week 3 was actually pretty bad. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same for the week completion. However, as you remember, we did a copy paste of the completion. So what it did is when you do this type of copy paste, it's going to copy paste also the conditional formatting. So here we see we have a conditional formatting which has been copy paste. So I'm just going to select it and then delete it. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to update the last column as we did below. If you decided to keep the percentage completion, I would recommend that you keep the rule just to make it more appealing with different colors. Here we're just going to select done, and then we're going to close this. Once this is done, we have an idea of the whole habit of the daily and weekly. I'm just going to make it kind of as a game. So what do I mean by that is I decided that in each month there would be 4 weeks, and the extra will be extra days for me to be better. It's kind of my saving game here. So let's imagine a few of my weeks are not really good. I really want to be perfect in the last few days just to make sure that I win some more points. Once this is done, I'm just going to copy paste this to the below on the weekly just to make sure I see everything. And then, as I said previously, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select here all of the tick box, and then I'm going to copy paste the first part. I'm then going to merge the 2 last cell. And this is going to help me to keep an eye on the different tasks and just see the actual name of those tasks. So here I'm going to merge everything. I can all merge one by one everything, all select the square, the blue square, and then extend it. Once I've done this, I'm just going to make it equal, and then I'm just going to make it equal to the one before. Again, because everything is linked together, if I now change, for example, the first week to being AB, you're going to see everything. So then you're going to see everything updating. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select the square, the blue square, and we're just going to extend it until the end. Then I'm just going to want to format. So I'm just selecting everything, outer borders, and then an out one. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do for the week, for the complete and incomplete, we're just going to merge everything as we did before. It's not going to have any impact on the formatting. So I'm just going to select the first cell, and then I'm just going to merge everything. So again, we select everything, and then we just go on merge. Here it's going to ask me if there is, if I'm happy for it to go again on the top leftmost value, and yes. Then I'm going to do exactly the same on the below, select the first one, extend on the next, merge cell, and OK. Then the last one is we're going to select both of those. So they are the week completion and the mood rating. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend it. As you're going to see, it's going to select the next 7 days. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the first cell of 25%, and then I'm going to unmerge. As you're going to see, because it's merged, it's going to be green. So I'm just going to click on it. It's going to go back to gray, and it's just going to show me 1 day. Just going to do exactly the same as below. Sorry, and I'm just going to unmerge. Then I'm going to merge it again on 3 days. So select it, merge on 3 days, and then again, merge on 3 days. I'm going to then select, merge on 3 days. Then I'm going to select both of those, and then I'm going to use the outer corners. So then we can see everything is updated correctly. And I'm just going to select those and then put no, clear the borders. So you're going to see everything disappears here. So this is literally how you're able to create a daily tracker and a weekly tracker. Because we've linked everything together, it's actually quite easy to update the month. You're going to select the first cell that we updated, which was C2, and then you can change from the 1st of January until the 1st of February. And then as you can see, look at this here on C4, Sunday is going to change. As you can see, Sunday, the 1st of January, which was a Sunday, changed to the 1st of February, which is a Wednesday. you're going to then see that the extra days, which we had in January, are going to be the first week of March. Next video, you will be able to see how to have a monthly tracker within that tab, as well as a journal and things that you want to improve for next month. You will be also able to see how we're going to have each month of the year, as well as a dashboard showing your week-on-week improvement, your month-on-month improvement, and your mood rating. To give you a quick view, if we go on Excel, I have the tracker here. This is how we have a monthly view, as well as journal and things to work on next month. You can see I have a tab for each month, as well as a dashboard showing me how it's been my month so far, as well as a completion of the task and the moods. Again, to show you quickly, you're going to have here all of the tasks of the daily, the weekly task, the monthly task, the journal, and the things to work on. I hope this helps you. However, if you didn't manage, please feel free to leave a comment with your issue and I'll reply to it. If you decide that it is just too much for you and you prefer to purchase it, please feel free to click on the link below. If no, I see you next week for the second part of this video showing you the monthly as well as the journal, the things to work on next month, and the dashboard.